Okay, folks, this is a video on fixing a mistake. These are battery holders for 26650s, lithium iron phosphates, and look, they're UFO batteries. I put them in there, hooked everything up, and it worked great. And later on, I bought a BMS, which is right here. And when I hooked up the BMS along with the ribbon cable on these to the next one, to the next one, the next one, eventually to this one, I blew the trace fuses. And the reason those trace fuses blew was because I did not balance charge these first. So I've taken them all out and I am repairing the trace fuses. See, I blew the trace fuses on all of them. And what I'm doing is I'm putting this wire. It works, it's a 36 gauge wire, and it works the same as a 5 amp fuse. And so I'm putting them across here, and I'm going to show you how I did it. And just a sec, I gotta get this set up. Okay, what I'm doing, I had to play with, that's why I got 4 of them done. I was playing around trying to figure out the best way to do this, because I didn't have any instructions. So what I've been doing, I had to turn on the light so I can see. Let me check, see if that light's okay. Okay, we're good. Okay, what I'm doing is I want to get the trace fuses on the back side since it's really hard to solder in here. So what I'm doing is I'm running the fuse wire, or the wire, 36 gauge wire. Oops, trying to get it through the hole. It's like threading a needle. Unfortunately, I have to go off the camera real quick. I cannot control the camera as much. There we go. Thread it through there and pull it through like this. Then I thread it through this side. I'm on the second one, so I go into the second one. Just a little bit. Just enough to get it in there. Then I bend it down like this. And you find something small that you can put on there to hold it in place. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I gotta try it again. Let's see. Come on. I don't want to make this video too long. I can hold down there. Okay, looks like it's going to hold this time. Actually, I can use one of these. Use the standoff, it's heavier. Okay, now I've got it held in place. Oh, sorry about that. And I turn on my soldering iron, wait for it to charge up. Almost there. Charge up pretty fast. Since it's such a small space and this solder melts pretty good, I'm only going about 500 degrees Fahrenheit. If anybody knows a better way, please tell me. But it's what's been working. Waiting for it to start flashing so that it tells me it's ready. In the meantime, I'm charging 18650 batteries. I'm building some batteries with this, using these. And this is how I learned what I did wrong here. I blew the trace fuses on this guy too. But only on one of them. Okay, our solder's up. Our soldering iron is up to temperature. Now I'm in the second one, so I take soldering iron. Don't want to hold it there very long. Get the solder on place and let it go. A little more. There we go. You don't want the solder to bleed into the other holes. Just to that one. And I check, it's good. Now, on my practice, doing some of the others, trying to perfect this before I did the video, one of my fuses blew while I was soldering it. These are the same gauge as the trace fuse. They burn at 5 amps. The battery cells never get to 5 amps, so that's perfect. These only get about 3 amps. And there we go. That's the first fuse. Now I have this wire still hooked to it. And it's a real tight spacing in there. So I got a pair of child-safe scissors. They seem to work really well. And I cut it. That easy. Now I will do the next one. Oh, wait, gotta put it through here. So you won't see the trace fuses on this side, but you look on the bottom. That's where they are now. It's kind of hard to thread this through here. This is the hard part. And it's got a board fuse too. I blew one of them on the other one. No, actually it was this one. Okay, there's through. I got better at this as I was going along. I didn't want to bore anybody with me trying to get this done and trying to learn how to do it. So I waited. That's got more weight. This is a forever match. I haven't tried it yet. It was free. I paid shipping. Okay. Now I've got that in the hole. So we'll drop a solder there. We're good. Just want to get them in the hole there. Now move this and try to pull this tight without it looping. Very fine wire. And there we go. Now, when I get the wire through there like that, hold it there like that. The ribbon cable plug works perfect. Yeah, still on it. Okay. Okay, now grab the solder and do the other side of it. And before I put this together again, and also when you don't have the proper output on this cable with this hooked up, that means there's an imbalance on these boards. One of these guys has an imbalance. One of the batteries is lower or higher, or one or more. So it's causing these trace fuses to burn out, which gives a bad reading on the output here. Luckily, the trace fuses didn't blow here. And I still don't know if that's going to work, because when I plugged it in, it smoked a little. So I'm still a bit worried about that thing. But I think it'll work fine once I get everything balanced and put together. I bought a new charger so that I can get stuff done faster. Okay, next fuse. I can see which ones I haven't done yet. This one's with the open holes. Gosh, it's hard to see. Now, it looks real good on the camera, but for some reason I can't see it. So, just kind of try it. Hope it goes in. Come on. Straighten it a little. bore you with this video. It's not going to be as slow as the other one. If I showed you at the beginning. There we go. We're through. Yeah, I got it through once and then I let go of it and it fell out. I'm hoping I don't get too much on the other side. I don't want them touching. It won't blow the fuse. What it will do is act as a fuse for one of the others, which we don't want. There we go. Got to lay them flat. Got to make sure it lays flat. Otherwise, it could touch the next one. There we go. Soldered. Now, I'm kind of a beginner at this soldering stuff, but I chose the kits so that I get some experience. But this wasn't a kit. These were populated boards. Jag 35 only offered these populated. Hopefully in the future they'll offer them unpopulated, which means none of this stuff will be on it, or this or this. Just the board and the trace fuses will be there. Nothing else. And Jehu Garcia of Jag 35 designed these, but they're open source. So if you want to build your own, yeah, it's free to download the plans for it, and you can have anybody that prints circuit boards make them for you. They're open sourced, so it's free. But if you get them from him, you got to pay for them because he's not in the business of giving stuff away. But these boards, these are for the 18650s, and these are double-sided. This is bottom. That one says top. If you want, you can populate both sides, and they still operate through the same trace fuses and the same power jack. They're just parallel. But so far he doesn't have that for these. Okay, now to solder the other side. Tie it off right there with using that jack. Seems to work really well. But you know, you can do it my way or you can devise your own, but I'm just showing you how I do it. Everybody is different. Everybody, you know, works in a different way. Where I work, we assemble things for wafer processors, and everybody learns from one person the same way, and then they can do it their own way, provided it's not really screwed up. It takes longer. And now that's it. I got one more fuse. Let's see, do I need fuse on trace fuses on this one? Oh no, that's a different kind. Yep, this is the last one. So you want to bear with me? We got one more to go. Which way are we going? Oh, this one. Looked on the wrong side of the board. Yeah, the first one I soldered, I soldered over a trace fuse, and like, oh heck, I guess it's just doubly protected. Okay, getting that hole. Got it. It's real nice when you can see it. I always pull a little extra through there so I can fold it back. And just try to put as little as I can through that. And then hold it down. If I don't hold it down with something, it pops out. You know, gravity's a bitch. It fights you. There's a lot of gravity on the bottom part. There we go. It's fused. Well, completely fused yet. Still need to pull this. You don't want to have any loose. You want to have as tight as you can get it so it doesn't touch the others. And tie it off. Last one. Now, I can operate these batteries without using these. If I just put the batteries in here and not put the ribbon cable on here, here's the ribbon cable. What the ribbon cable does is allows the BMS board, which has a connection here. Each one of these has a connection, and it goes to the batteries in order to sense the batteries and make sure everything's balanced. So what I did wrong, they weren't balanced on their charge level. Their state of charge was different, too different. They can be maybe 1 or 2 hundredths off of a volt, and it'd be fine. But I guess more than 500 volt, 5 hundredths of a volt, and you have issues. And it blows the trace fuses once this is plugged in. Now, keep in mind, power is on these two. Here's positive, here's negative. I don't need to use that. I don't need to use this. These are lithium iron phosphate batteries, and they're very safe. But I want my batteries to last longer, so I'm using the BMS. These trace fuses will help this work. Because the trace fuses were blowing, I had bad output on the BMS. At least that's the theory. We will see. It's going to be a while before I do the balance charge. I've only got 4 of them balanced already. Well, I don't have 4 yet. I only have 2 actually. Since they're bigger, they take up more space in the charger. Yeah, they're quite a bit different size. Same length, approximately, but the diameter is much bigger. But these are a safer chemistry than these. These, you cut this in half, you got a fire. Cut this in half, no fire. These do not burn as well as these do. Well, there is a repair of the trace fuses. I used that wire over these trace fuses. And I should have continuity now from this plug to this side of the fuses. And on this end, these are test points. And for some reason, I can get 24 volts on the output of these test points, but it's only 12 volts. I don't know. Maybe it's anybody have any ideas? I don't know. Well, that's the video. Hope that helps somebody not to make the same mistake I did. Yeah, but if you do, I showed you how to fix it. And I did the same thing for the lithium ion. Okay, that was a good one. Where's the bad one? Okay, here's the bad one. So you got 2 trace fuses blown here. And I put new fuses on it, so it should work now. Now, I could populate these with batteries, these batteries, and even if the trace fuse is blown, I will get 12 volts here. I won't get anything here, or I'll get an imbalance, maybe 1 or 2 of these, or 3, some of these are going to be not operating, so it won't have 24 volts. And right here it says, if you can read the small print, replace fuse with 36 gauge wire. That's why I bought the 36 gauge wire, and I watched a video on fixing it. Jehu Garcia is the channel. If you want to learn this stuff, That's who I learned it from. Don't trust my knowledge because I'm still learning it myself. As you can see, I blew a whole bunch of fuses. But he's my source, so check him out and tell him I sent you. This is Battery Addiction signing off.